We've been having conversations here at the Global Annual Meeting about how artificial intelligence really can help us to develop tools that put the patient at the center and really elevate the experience that patients can have across the development continuum. But I wanted to pick up then on the theme that you started in Europe around demystifying AI for non-technical people. Many patients are not technical, right? So how do we effectively communicate the benefits and capabilities of AI and what's happening in life sciences and our industry in the same way that we learn to communicate the benefits and capabilities of medicines to patients? How can we really make this more clear and communicate effectively?
Thanks, Courtney. This is a great question. If you think from a patient perspective, they are more thinking about how does this medicine cure me, or how will it alleviate my symptoms? So that's what would come to their mind first. Similarly, let's take this to the healthcare ecosystem, where our end users are thinking, how is AI going to impact my day-to-day work? How is it going to change the way I do things today? What is the operational efficiencies that I would gain from this? So AI is going to play a big role in how the life science industry is going to go forward. And the foremost thing is the utility. How is it going to be used? That's going to be a fundamental question that this ecosystem, all the stakeholders in this ecosystem needs to answer. Michael, what do you think?
So I think, what I find useful in speaking about AI to non-technical folks is always to use metaphors, right? Yeah. And bring it back to language they understand and things they could relate to. And there's something that you said about 2 weeks ago that I use, by the way. I should probably get your permission. It's in a hype cycle, but it's not only a hype cycle, it's a hyped up hype cycle. Probably the most that we will have in our lifetime, this idea of generative AI and stuff like this. So for the normal person who is not an AI specialist, it does seem a bit out there and abstract and stuff, but they also have this feeling that they should know because everybody's talking about it, right? So they have this feeling. So what happens is that people they're in this kind of spot where you ask them to come up with use cases and stuff. They don't quite know what AI is, how it works and stuff, but then they kind of don't feel empowered to talk about it, so there's this big gap between what they need to do and that communication. There's a big gap between what they need to do and what the data scientists and AI folks need to get from them, right? So it's all about how to communicate, and as you were saying, the patient model of communicating medicine to patients is a good one.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to what Michael said is also about the communication in the sense that the language the clinical industry or the researchers would use is going to be completely different from what the data scientists would use. Yeah. So defining the problem in the right way, the use case for what we need to solve in the right way is important, and then communicating that to the tech industry, to the data scientists is another challenge. So we need to think about the entire pathway of getting to solutions. So we start with the problem statement and then decide which solutions to use, and not the other way around, where we think, we've got all these generative AI technology and skills, how can we apply it to our problem? Yeah. That's not going to take us along.
And I also wonder if, it's not linear, right? There has to be a feedback because these things are new, right? We're starting with the problem. We're applying the tool to solve that problem, but we're utilizing the feedback in the system to actually come back to the beginning and say, are we solving this problem? Are we communicating it effectively? Is there actually uptake? Do people understand it? And then how can we refine the technology to actually make sure that we have something that's really useful to patients? I loved, I picked up on what Najat Khan said in our opening session yesterday about using AI as a copilot.
Yes.
And then today, Stacy Hunt in the Diamond session, patient, talked about how the beauty of AI in her mind was to use it as a tool to really actually bring people closer together by creating efficiency between the physician and the knowledge, the information that's in the industry, making that much more easy for the physician so that the physician then can then spend her time or his time communicating with the patient.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a beautiful example.
Yeah, I mean, there are many, many examples in the industry as well on how it will improve the operational efficiencies. And AI is a great player there because if you want to, not repeat the mundane tasks, AI can be used for stopping those repetitive tasks. It can be automated quite easily. Yeah. So there are a number of use cases, but it's about co-creation. It's about getting those stakeholders out on the table, and they come with different skill sets. You're going to need the clinician, you're going to need a regulator, you're going to need the data scientists, you're going to need a whole village of people to make this work for the healthcare industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if we're thinking then about the communication and how we really make things clear for all of the stakeholders and patients, even the data scientists, to make it clear to them, they need to hear things back in a language that makes sense to them. What might the communication look like, and what levels might it impact us?
So it's a pretty heavy loaded list of stuff, but let's start from the top level, right, at the industry level, right? So the great thing about AI and the magic of AI and the beauty of AI is that it's very collaborative, right? That's why we are with AI and where we are with AI is because people collaborate. It's a collaborative culture. You have, academia collaborates, Google puts out their stuff, everybody's very open, Facebook puts out their stuff, they open up their languages and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very, very collaborative space, and we need that at an industry level in terms of communication and things like this. So the first thing is AI is very collaborative. The second thing is AI, to communicate AI is by default trial and error. So it's very different from the traditional software where it's very rule-based. You have this list of requirements, and you come in and you map those to those requirements, and your project might look waterfall and stuff like that. That's a paradigm shift for AI. AI is trial and error. It has to be very agile, and it's a journey, right? So the other thing at an industry level, to understand that there needs to have that collaboration and to understand that it's a different beast, so to speak, than traditional software. People need to understand that it's a different beast to traditional software that's very requirements-based, that is very trial and error. The other thing at the industry level that's pretty key is that there are thousands of ways to get from A to B, right? So there's not one methodology, not one tool or not one model to get. It's by definition is trial and error and many pathways for the same destination. So what that means is that if we could share experiences and share knowledge, rather than everybody starting from step 0 or step 1 and inventing the wheel, everybody's kind of like sharing and getting to they're starting at step 80, right? And at the industry level, it's all about collaboration and raising the tide of where AI is in the industry. And that's kind of how we can get the healthcare industry on par with financial industry and other, other industries that are just, because we also not first adopters in life sciences and healthcare. There's always a hesitation of regulatory and stuff like this. So that's the at the industry level. At the business level, a lot of the communication is around ROI. How do you measure ROI? Because it's very different to traditional software, right? So with traditional software, you can say, okay, here's what the software is doing, here's the benefit, here's the ROI. ROI, you might install a piece of AI capability here, and you feel it down here, and the benefit is not that apparent. So we need to kind of come up with alternative alternative ways to measure ROI, which could be qualitative as well as quantitative. If we take search, for example, your search might save you 2 seconds, right? But that's not where the value is. The value is you getting the right information and making the right decisions later down in the value chain. And then the third level is at the individual level. So the communication this is not about threatening work or stuff like this. This is about getting the human to focus on doing more human things and more value brain work stuff, and getting them to do more fun jobs rather than there's a phrase, it's not AI, it's not human in the loop anymore, it's AI in the loop, right? So AI is just a team member. Yes. Contributing. It's just this virtual contributor to your team, but we're still a team and we're still responsible for the work, right? So it's all about changing that paradigm. The communication is human in the loop, it's AI in the loop, and the AI is doing that heavy lifting so that I could expedite my work better quality, better speed, and I could do more value stuff. And actually, ironically, then your jobs are more secure because you're actually doing more value as a human.
Yes.
So those would be the three.
Yeah, and this is AI with an elevated purpose, right? So it's actually augmenting the human intelligence to take it forward. So it's you really said it well, that it's the AI in the loop and not us. So how can we leverage AI to make things easier for us?
And I really don't like human in the loop. Sorry, I really don't like human in the loop because it makes it sound as though AI is the responsible one.
Yeah.
Right, where it's actually AI in the loop because we're responsible. We're the ones coming up with the final output.
Yeah. I love that, and it picks up on some of the conversations we were having earlier about overcoming challenges with generative AI. And somebody asked the question, should AI be a stakeholder? And it's almost that's almost it. It's that we really have to integrate it into our thinking rather than having it be something that's sitting outside the box, something we need to solve, something we need to figure out how to use. It's just part of the cycle.
Yeah, and it is democratizing AI in a way that any normal user can today go in and open a ChatGPT window and start asking their questions, and they get information and misinformation sometimes. It's about how do we, for our healthcare industry, change that misinformation to information that's more critical, that we can actually use in a better way. So it is about the humans with all our different skill sets in the ecosystem, trying to make it work for us.
And you're both so passionate about this topic and how we are engaging in the conversation, how we can communicate effectively. And so you're both really taking action on this. So first of all, I want to thank you for joining me today to have this discussion. But can you tell me a little bit about your plans with DIA and how you're going to help move this discussion forward?
No, thanks, Courtney. And I think DIA has given us that platform for innovation, and we're going to leverage that. So the most important is we're going to start a community called AI in Healthcare, and this is going to serve the audience in the healthcare ecosystem, which means it will really benefit the healthcare industry by coming together into this community, co-creating solutions. And this is for all. This is not just for one sect of people. This is for people in the research, in academia, with the tech vendors, everybody together alongside with the data scientists and all the people who are working in the AI space, bringing them all together. First, understanding the use cases from the research community and getting our data scientists to start looking at how do we solve that problem. And then together we are testing and trying out new things. That's where innovation is. That's the hub for innovation. So this community, please everyone, please feel free to join, share your contribution. It's so important.
Yeah, the community is really important. I think it's a platform to help us not reinvent the wheel. Everybody's reinventing the same wheel, you know? And it's a great place for us to collaborate. If Sridevi solves an issue with generative AI, you know, share that, and people to be able to just expedite their use of AI rather than everybody struggling in the same way.
As the old saying goes, tide, time, and now AI waits for none. Let's get going.
Let's get going. Thank you again, Sridevi, Michael. We're really looking forward to collaborating with you on this new DIA community. For DIA, I'm Courtney Granville.